I knew that Mango Dead Serious, this first one, was going to be messy. I was recording all over the place. I recorded all of Mango's stuff in my apartment. I recorded a bunch of stuff with a few of the actors in an office building that I had access to via where I work. When I lost access to that office location, I ended up booking a recording studio to finish up the rest of the recording. So we recorded in a bunch of different places. Hi, my name is Ben Conley. I am the creator of the feature-length audio drama Mango Dead Serious. Production is basically the thing everyone thinks about when they think about filmmaking, I think, where there's cameras or equipment. That's production. So it's after writing, the writing stage. It's after pre-production, which includes casting. Casting's a big part of pre-production. Pre-production's planning and scheduling and just getting everything ready. Production is when you come in and you actually hit record. That's where the magic happens. That's where a lot of things are out of your control at that point, because there's just a lot of moving parts when you get into production. Some people call it being in the trenches. It's like game time. Gosh, I almost feel like the hardest thing about production is pre-production. Because pre-production is the planning and the scheduling and getting everything ready. It's like leaving for a trip or a flight or something. Like all of that stress happens before you get to your destination or before you get on your flight. At least for me, I always find I breathe a sigh of relief when I get on the plane. All my bags are packed. All right, nothing we can do about it now. Let's go and enjoy our vacation or our trip or whatever we're doing. That to me is what production is. You got all the equipment there, you got all the actors there, you got all the people there. All right, let's shoot the thing, let's record the thing, let's have some fun. But there are a lot of things that can happen during production that aren't fun and are terrifying, because production is where a lot of the money is spent. You know, you have all the gear on set, you have all the people on set, and if you don't make your days, meaning you don't finish all the things you need to capture during that day or record during that day, you got to go another day, and the cost just starts compounding itself. So production is a very exciting part of filmmaking, but it's not for the faint of heart. Production on Mango Dead Serious was unusual because Mango Dead Serious was something I was kind of shaping for quite a long time, because I wasn't really sure what direction to go with the format. It was my first audio drama. There was a lot of trial and error. And so production kind of happened in spurts. The bulk of production happened in 2023, but production started in 2021, because when I wrote the first part of it, I wanted to test out recording to see if this was even possible. So I started recording some things early on, did some tests. One of the examples is I didn't know if I could find the right dog to be Kismet. So I did some tests to figure out what the dog sounded like, what the zombies were going to sound like. So production ebbed and flowed from 2021 to 2024. I recorded Mango Dead Serious in a few different locations. This had a lot to do with budget and resources and kind of figuring things out. My plan all along was to produce a few of these. So I knew that Mango Dead Serious, this first one, was going to be messy. And it was going to be, shoestring budget. And there was a lot of things I needed to figure out. So I was recording all over the place. I recorded all of Mango's stuff in my apartment. I recorded a bunch of stuff with a few of the actors in an office building that I had access to via where I work. When I lost access to that office location, I ended up booking a recording studio to finish up the rest of the recording. So we recorded in a bunch of different places. One of the biggest decisions I made with how I was going to direct Mango Dead Serious was the decision to record all the actors separately. You can certainly record actors at the same time, which I think gives actors something to work off of because they're in the same room as the other actors. But the reason why I chose to record everyone separately was mostly because of scheduling challenges. This wasn't the type of project where I just carved out a week or a weekend to bring everyone together to record. I was recording it in spurts and in pieces, kind of like Frankenstein parts, putting this whole thing together. So I guess you could say my directing approach to Mango Dead Serious was to be as flexible as possible. And I felt that recording all the actors separately was going to give me the most flexibility. Recording the actors separately meant that I was going to lean into repetition. I was going to have them say the lines different ways to give me lots of different options that I could then piece together in the edit. And I think a reason for that is, again, flexibility, control, and I'm doing this as kind of a one-man band. So, I wanted to make sure that once it came time to edit, I had a ton of options to use, that if maybe what I was hearing in the moment wasn't working, I have another option right next to it with a line that maybe they deliver differently. Like, that was very important for me to have all those options and different takes to edit with. So yeah, we recorded a lot of things as a series. My approach was to run through certain scenes all together, and I would be reading with the actor. So we would read it together once or twice and kind of do more like longer takes with bigger scenes. And then we would go in and kind of break it apart, sometimes line by line, even sometimes word by word, especially if it was something kind of like they were like an exclamation, like, what? There's 1,000 different ways you can say what? So we did a lot of that. We did a lot of takes as a series. Something else that was important with my directing approach was making sure the actors were still being physical, because it's a lot different when you're acting in front of a mic versus acting in a space like live action, because with a live action production, you can use your body, you can use the environment to kind of impact your performance. With the way we recorded Mango Dead Serious, they didn't have that environment to work in. So they really had to use their imagination to put themselves in that place. And then it was my job as the director to help get them there, to help guide them, to help inform them, give them clues, give them information to flesh out that story, that location that they were building in their mind. A lot of that energy that is delivered into a line or their performance comes from movement, being able to move. Like when you're getting angry, you're going to clench your fists. All those little physical decisions and choices really impact your performance. The trick was to allow them to do that, to get them to do that in a room. Sometimes there's a storage closet in front of a mic, which is challenging. It's no coincidence that all of the actors I ended up booking for these roles were very physical and very kind of animated in their auditions. That allowed me to see that, okay, they're going to be fine. Because when you're hearing that, it's so easy to sound like you're reading something off a page when you're actually reading something off a page. If you have the lines memorized and you're delivering them to another actor, it's not going to sound like it's reading. But when you're actually reading something, there is a trick and an art to make it sound like you're not reading something. And a lot of that comes from how physical you are and what you're doing with your body. Even something as simple as where you place your hands. I remember a scene with Alex. She was asking Mango a question. It was the scene where they are hiking together for the first time to get to the waterfall. So she's asking some questions to Mango about, his background and kind of trying to get a read on this guy. And she was asking Kismet about his eye patch. Why does he wear an eye patch? So I had her, okay, you're hiking through the woods. Let's bring a little breath into it. Maybe let's hold your backpack. You're kind of, just imagine yourself walking up a hill, going on a hike. You've got your backpack. Let's put your hands on the straps of your backpack. And so when she delivered the question then, it sounded much more like just kind of coming out of the blue. It's like, why does he wear an eye patch? That's what I was looking for. And a simple hand gesture, hand movement, body position really impacted how that line was delivered. And that was something we were doing throughout the whole thing in different scenes and in different kind of scenarios. It's hard to put a specific timeline on how long production took on Mango Dead Serious because there were a lot of things I needed to figure out. So production took longer than it will take on Mango 2. Mango 2's production is going to be snappy because I know exactly what I need to do because of what happened on Mango Dead Serious. I started production on Mango Dead Serious in 2021, and I think I finally wrapped the last recording with at least the other actors in early 2024. I still was picking up lines for Mango almost all the way up until actually even after we released the first iteration of the full-length audio drama, because I heard some things over time that I'm like, I want to tweak that a little bit. One of the biggest production challenges for me with Mango Dead Serious was just the amount of time it took, because there were a lot of things that were ebbing and flowing, and there was a lot of trial and error. It was very messy. Like carving out that time, just kind of actually sticking with it and following and not giving up really was, the challenge was losing hope. What I love about production is that's where the magic happens. You have everything ready, everything set up. I've cast all the roles. I know who my actors are. I have the studios, recording places booked or wherever that's going to happen. The script is finished. I mean, most of the time. Not in my case. I'm tweaking the script constantly, even during production, during recording. Oh, try it this way. But the general story structure is locked. Production is when you hit record and they slap the markers and say, take one, action. That's what I love about production. You don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of risk involved too. But it's definitely the part of the process that is the biggest roller coaster ride. And you kind of have to be the type of person who enjoys that, because production can be terrifying. Hey, Ben here. I hope you enjoyed this special Mango Dead Serious bonus episode. Subscribe to our channel or follow us on social media for lots more behind the scenes content, and stay tuned for more audio action coming from Hard 90 Productions.